So, in the last class, very carefully, we were seeing that how one is supposed to look at, especially this vairagya, because only this paravairagya, and because of sakshatkara of Purusha sakshatkara, because of understanding of one's own self or avoidance in one's own self. In fact, because of more and more avoidance, only paravairagya will come. So that means, in short, in apara vairagyam, abhyasa is there. And when this abhyasa becomes spontaneous, becomes part of system, and understanding of one's own self, seeing one's own self, avoiding one's own self, or with the teaching, parakasta, we use this word, then comes what? Para vairagyam. And this para vairagyam and kaivalyam are one and same. That also we have discussed. Now, while discussing this para vairagyam, this particular sutra, which is being talked about samadhi, as all of you know, that there are two types of samadhi. One is sampragyata samadhi, other one is called asampragyata samadhi. But I will request all of you to hold the word as it is. Don't put English. So here, let us look at this sutra 1:17. Vitarka, vichara, ananda asmita anugamat sampragyatah. I was looking at the translation, which is really very funny, because sometimes I look at the translation for the sake of what they talk. So the translation says, the cognitive trance is accompanied by the appearance of a philosophical curiosity, meditation, elation, and egoism. Now tell me, what do you understand? I didn't understand anything, okay? In fact, I got confused. I was thinking, I know what is the subject matter after going through this translation. What is this egoism and what is all about it? You say samadhi, then you say egoism. Whereas, let us look at very carefully. First of all, what is sampragyata? The word itself explains. Sam, pra, and jnana. Because it ta becomes karmani. So this mainly sam, pra, jna root. These three makes karmani kta. It makes sampragyata. So let us look at each word. That is how you have to understand here slowly. Says that, look, sam means samyak. Generally we say very well. Simple translation. But here is called sansayadi rahita. Free from all sort of doubts. There is no ambiguity. There is no doubt. So that is called samyak here. Sam. So pra means prakarshena. Prakarshana means, again we use the word very well. But here is purnataya. So purnataya means completely, entirely. See, look at how the word to be understood, okay? Completely or entirely, not partially. Then comes Gya. So Gya means Gyataha, Adhigataha or Sakshat Krutaha. That Samadhi is called Sampragyataha Samadhi. So that means that which is known, that here when it's known without dhyana, dheya and dhyata. So dhyana means meditation, dheya means object of meditation, and dhyata means meditator. So that which is known without any difference of these three. And how is known? Prakarshena, entirely, completely, and that too free from all sort of doubts. That samadhi is called what? Here, sampragyata samadhi. So now, when it talks, I made a mistake, I made a serious mistake, sorry. It is not, I'm retaking back. It's not dhyana, dhyata, dheya, because I jumped to a sampragyata samadhi. It should be dheya without dheya, without the object of meditation, okay? Because asmita is there, so dhyata will continue, okay? I'm sorry. See, can you see? So, dhyana, dhyata, dheya, all these three will be removed or will be free in asampragyata samadhi, not in sampragyata samadhi. But in sampragyata samadhi, dheya definitely is not there, the object of meditation. Okay? Now, when you look at this way, here the Sutrakara himself highlights. Look, this is sampragyata samadhi will be divided into 4 steps, not 4 categories. So there is a gradual process of 4 levels of this sampragyata samadhi. Now when he says, what are those 4 stages? The first one is called vitarka anugata. Vitarka anugata, okay? So in fact, I was looking at what is vitarka. In English they say put philosophical curiosity. But don't buy this idea, okay? Somebody can say vitarka also, all sort of logics. Please, not like that. We'll come. Hold on. So one is called vitarka anugata. Anugata word will be later on explained, okay? Second one is called vichara anugata. Vichara anugata. Vichara anugata. Third one is called Ananda Anugata. Ananda Anugata. And the fourth one, Asmita Anugata. Asmita Anugata. So now, when it talks about this word, that look, this Anugataha, here we have to see very clearly that how this happens. Here, very nicely, as we look at, differently, of course, different people do talk, but let me try my best to make it as simple as possible. That's why I am trying my best. Here is being highlighted very nicely that when especially a person goes through this Rajasa Vritti and Tamasa Vritti, because we have to start, because that is our key point, okay? When the person goes through this Rajas and Tamasa Vritti, means the Vritti backed up by Rajaguna or Tamoguna, definitely that Chittam cannot have Samadhi. So that means, that's why Nirodha comes. Chitta Vritti Nirodha, that's why. So that means, when this Rajoguna and Tamoguna Vritti is being, let us say, restrained, as we discussed, now what happens? Automatically, the Vritti that is connected to Sattvaguna, called Sattvika Vritti, will start growing, or will start keep coming. So that means, here very clear, this is called Sampragyata Samadhi, where Sattva-guna is predominant. That's why you cannot say, look, I am in Samadhi, but I can do whatever I want. It will not work. Because Samadhi presupposes Sattva-guna and at least lack of Rajaguna and Tamoguna. Is it clear? Then, secondly, also, here when he says this, we look at this way. Now, because the Sattva Guna or Sattvika Vritti is predominant, now the Dheya Vishayam, the object of perception, object of experience, object of meditation, please understand, all are there, okay? Object of experience, object of perception, object of our sound called listening, sabda, all these things put together, he says beautifully, one will have purna sakshatakaram. One will be able to see entirely. And then only this samadhi will happen. Because here why this is being highlighted. First of all, when we look at Vitarka Anugata, because if you look at the example wise we can go so that it becomes a little bit easier to understand. The first one is Vitarka Anugata. That here we can look at this way. For example, you are looking at Surya sunrise. So as you start looking at sunrise, that the gross sense organs, or you can use that external sense organs, okay? That is called gross, okay? So the external sense organs now starts focusing on what? The gross Surya. Is it clear? The visible Surya. Now when it starts, free from samsaya, free from doubt, there is no doubt. If there is little bit doubt, your mind will be disturbed or not. So that means what? Samsaya viparyaya rahita. So free from all sort of doubts. And at the same time, purnatayaha yathartha rupyana. So the way you start seeing that you have never seen before, for example. Also, you have never imagined that way. You have never heard that way. Means free from all stuff, comparisons. So there, technically, what happens? You don't see the Surya, but seeing continues. Can you see this point? How? I'll give you a small example. You are thirsty. Summer, thirsty, and you come. Somebody gives you a not cold water, not chilled water, really nice from the fridge water and or spring water. Let us say cold spring water. And you take. When you take the first sip, okay. So first sip you take. What happens? You don't compare. You don't do anything. Do you compare? Oh, it takes some time, okay, to compare. That fraction of second, you are blank. Does it happen or not? That sattvika vritti, that is blank, is called sattvika vritti here. Please understand. In fact, that is called vitarka anugata sampragyanta samadhi. Means your mind is not occupied. Your mind does not look for comparison. If this can happen for a fraction of a second with reference to drinking water, same thing can happen with reference to any perception. So when it happens in any perception in a gross way, this is called gross. That's why it is called vitarka. We'll be seeing later on. Again, comparisons we'll look at. And in this, very carefully also we need to look. Here, it is connected to 5 gross elements. And always you want to receive, you want to observe, you want to experience. That a tendency called grahya bhavana. The thinking of receiving, the thinking of experiencing will be continuing with the reference to gross sense organs. So that's why here this is called vitarka anugata sampagyata samadhi. Whereas when you look at vichara, by practicing this vitarka anugata sampragyata samadhi continuously, the person will develop, or person's mind will go to next level called vichara, from vitarka to vichara. So what happens in vichara? So in vichara, interestingly, here, not related to gross, but related to Sukshma. So all the five Panchamatras, all are Sukshma Bhutas, five elements that is related to subtle. And of course, there also your subtle sense organs are involved. Now, question may arise, how this thing also we need to look at. Here also says, we'll be seeing when we look at a Vitarka Sampragyata Samadhi. Vitarka Sampragyata Samadhi also is divided into two categories. Okay? Vitarka Anugata Sampragyata Samadhi divided into two categories. One is called Savitarka, other one is called Nirvitaka. Nirvitaka, okay? So, with Vitarka means, what is with? Sabda, Artha and Jnana. So, the knowledge of the sound, the meaning also will continue. Surya continues Surya. When you see the Surya Bhagavan, your mind is seeing sunrise or sunset, you are out for a second. But that is there continuing. Oh, Surya, wow, Surya. Oh. So, Sabda, Artha and Jnanam, that Surya is continuing. While sipping the water, you know you are drinking water. You know. So, that is called Savitarka. Savitarka Sampagyata. Nirvitaka means where Sabda, Artha, Jnana will not be there. When it says, look, how it can happen, this also is going to come, will be discussed in coming sutras. So, there are two sutras to discuss this, okay? So, hold on. Whereas when we look at Vichara Anugata Samadhi, where Grahya and Grahana Samadhi, there is a Grahya and there is a process of receiving. Here it says beautifully, because of practicing this Vitarka Anugata, now the person develops to Savichara. And again, Savichara will have two types of stages. One is Savichara, second one is called Nirvichara. Because these are the stages. Once you start practicing, you will be able to see this point, okay? How and why, that also we'll try to see how it happens also. So in Savichara, Desha, Kala and Dharma. So that means, suppose you are looking at Surya, you know where you are standing. What is time, whether it's sunrise or sunset. And what are the properties? Dharma. You are aware of it. Whereas when it comes to after practice this thing, you develop to Nirvichara. So here in Nirvichara, Desa, Kala and Dharma will be not there. And how this can happen? We can look at little bit carefully from practice standpoint. So, shall I go to practice standpoint? Little bit. Then that will be interesting for you people, okay? See, first what we need to do is, this is how the samadhi, you have to make a asana. Generally, Padmasana or Sukhasana. There is no third thing, so we don't take. Padmasana is a little quicker. Quicker, I don't think so, because it's like quicker, it appears like, if you have got a cold, go to a doctor, okay? If you take medicine, it will be 1 week. If you don't take medicine, 7 days. So it appears to be. So you people have got cold now, you have got cold. Hey, you cannot come to me next day. I have to ask you to get out from here, okay? I have to travel, okay? Please. I will send you on the, top of the car. No worry with the car. Because now it's a very serious thing. Suppose if you start sneezing in the flight, that's all. See, I also joke apart. So this, in Sukhasana or Padmasana, one need to spend lot of time, which is a lot in this regard. So once you start sitting for a long time, you will discover you will grow out of from Annamaya Kosha to Pranamaya Kosha. So this transiting from Annamaya to Pranamaya, this transition period, that whole process of transiting from Annamaya, that your body jnanam will not be there, okay? The knowledge of the body will not be there. That stage, in short, is called what? Vitarka sampragyata samadhi. So that means minimum 45 minutes. In fact, in the beginning stages, if you sit for 3 to 4 hours at a stretch, without movement, then you will understand what is this Vitarka Sampragyata Samadhi. Is it clear? Swamiji, don't frustrate us, okay? You talk Vedanta, don't bring yoga while in Yoga Sutra. Then the second level is, as you start meditating, now slowly you need to retain or constrain or regulate, monitor your prana. So once the prana is being retained, means the rhythming or the breathing will be slow. How it will be slow also I can tell you. Now, secret I am telling openly. Actually, how we get into, once we start sitting for a long time, there are a lot of things happens. Let me not get into in details. There, you start, what in Kundalini they say, you start breathing in Susumna. So when you say you start breathing through Sushumna, what I put it very carefully, There, literally, you start learning to breathe, inhale through your Brahmarandra and exhale through Muladhara. That Guhya, not Muladhara, Guhya, through the anus. And interestingly, what happens? Actually, you will discover that this inhalation and exhalations are not there for the namesake. And in that stage, now because the prana is being regularized, and then because of that reason, you will discover all the sense organs cannot be extrovert, they have to be introvert. Internalization takes place. And of course, because of that reason, now you start jumping or transcendenting from pranamaya kosha to manomaya kosha. And because of which the third one is called what? Called Ananda Anugata. So when he says Ananda Anugata, now I got into the practice mode. So I have to continue the practice mode. So in Ananda Anugata, now from Manomaya to Vijnanamaya transformation takes place. So that means there is no wavering, whether to sit for a long time or not. There is pain whether to shake my body or not. In fact, mind has gone to this Vijnanamaya, going to Vijnanamaya. That's why there is happiness. In fact, we say this is a stage many sadhakas, they fall in love. In fact, that becomes the downfall of sadhana. Because you start enjoying meditation. Because mind is so nice. You will not feel like opening your eyes, not interacting with anybody or anything. So which is really very good. That's why it is called Ananda. So there is pleasure. And when there is pleasure, of course here there is fear, remember. Moment you get out of, again you are back to the square, but differently, not the same way, okay, please. So now, after this, the fourth one is called Asmita Anugata. So in Asmita Anugata, here, interestingly, there the Anandam, the happiness was coming because of Vijnana, because of this Vijnanamaya kosha, this is a process. Whereas here, from Vijnanamaya to Anandamaya kosha jumping takes place. So when you abide in Anandamaya kosha, definitely you are abiding within yourself. Swarupa avasthanam, almost. Okay? Refer Tattvabodha. Almost, not completely, because it is after all kosha. Okay? It is not. So Anandamaya kosha and Ananda, Sachidananda is entirely different. So when we discuss this way, we can have a look at how to look at this. When you look at this vitarka anugata sampragyata samadhi, there grahya and grahanam both are there. That object of receiving and the process of receiving, object of experience and experiencing, both are there. And what is the object here? So, being in the form of experiencing and the object of experience, now this field is external. Stula bhuta, 5 panchabhutas, and their combinations starting with his physical body. That's why when you see some child, beautiful, cute child, you fall in love with the child. That fraction of second that you fall in love with that child, that is called vitarka samadhi. Okay? Vitarka anugata sampragyata samadhi. And interestingly, here, because of this reason, now all these 4 are there. All the 4 means vitarka, vichara, ananda and asmita. All 4 will be there in that. That's why when you see the child, there is some type of things, and vichara is that looking at the next level, and ananda is there, and of course the asmita, the shadow that we have not discussed, that I will discuss how the asmita works, okay? Not egoism. Because asmita is pratibimbavat. So pratibimba means in buddhi, the me is there as shadow. And because me, that means the sense of claiming is there. That is what they put it, ego. Okay, you understand? You experience, then you claim. The shadow claims. Like we use this word very carefully. Like, sometimes, this is the rule. I don't know whether you people know. When you do the tarpanam, there are 2 ways. One is tarpana means offering water to the Surya. We look at the Surya. This is very gross, okay? Looking at the sun and offering. Other one, what we do is, we take the water. So in the water, we see the reflection of Surya. That is more powerful. Okay? So, how it happens? So, this Surya Pratibimba, Surya is there. But the reflection of Surya is on your palm. So, that shadow of Surya, how it creates impact? Same thing also, me Sachidananda Swarupaha, as Surya, is now getting reflected on this buddhi. Now later on claims every nonsense, everything. So you understand? This claiming comes. However, while discussing this thing, so what is the field? So what set of vritti we have? So vrittis are stula vishayakara vritti. They are gross in nature. Whereas in vichara anugata, there is also grahya, grahanam, both object of experience and process of experiencing. But it is related to sukshma bhuta, subtle element, and also subtle indriyas in the form of power. And of course, here vitarka is not there, but vichara, ananda, and asmita. So anugata means presence. And interestingly, here the vritti is sukshma vishayakara vritti, subtle in nature. And this ananda anugata sampragyata samadhi, there only experiencing is there, not object of experience. Only experiencing. And interestingly, ahankara is predominant. And because now ananda comes, here ananda and asmita are present. And interestingly, here the vritti is aham vritti, ananda vishayakara aham vritti, not dukkha vishayakara aham vritti, okay? The ahankara vritti, me, the sense of me and mine, sense of me, not mine, sense of me related to ananda, related to pleasure. And the final one is asmita anugata. So in asmita anugata, so there interestingly, only the receiver, the experiencer is there. So there is no experiencing, no object of experience, but the experiencer is very strong. And of course, because of that reason, here everything is what? Aham asmiti. It is me. So everywhere I stamp it, I claim it. You understand? So after coming out of samadhi, wow, I had a beautiful samadhi. So everything is like politicians, okay? I'm sorry, a little bit too much, smoke, that's why I want to change it, okay? So everywhere, like politicians, anything they do it, they make sure there should be a nameplate. And Tamil Nadu, few steps ahead, not now, long back, okay? So what they do is, wherever this fellow goes, on the roadside or wherever, at least if you do some good thing, nothing wrong in it, put some board that can be removed, okay, don't let wrong. But these people, even if they do a meeting, so there will be a place, there will be a flag. And all over Tamil Nadu roadside, only flags. And you cannot remove that flag. And you cannot remove that post. That will be a big mess. Anyway, let me not get into. So this asmita anugata also is related to how a person continues that I am in meditation. In fact, because of this asmita, the person wants to come back to the normal. Suddenly one thought come, enough. So the moment one small thought comes, enough, then what happens? All your energy will come back. Then you will feel like shaking your leg and do that, this thing, then how to get out of that place. So in short, this is called Sampragyata Samadhi. And we can look at different angles. I think we have done a good job, enough. If you understood, fine. If you don't understand, don't worry. Please close your eyes. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.